Hi everyone, it's Rokan and you're watching Movie of the Week, and this week's movie was Animal House from 1978. If this is your first movie of the week, what I do is talk about a movie here, you guys comment below your thoughts, and at the end of the video I say the movie for next week. So if you haven't watched Animal House, watch it now. It's my second time watching the movie, and my first time was in high school in our media studies class, and I really wanted to take this class because it was just like a random elective they had that was the closest thing really to the film they ever did in my school. And basically in this class, all we did was watch movies and TV shows, which I like, but then everyone was on their phones, which is annoying. It was like me and this other girl who actually cared. That was it. And that was kind of sad. But we did have this thing where everyone had to bring a movie and TV show, and then we were gonna talk about it. Like we were gonna talk about stuff when these people had never watched the movie. Anyway, I was crazy, so I did an episode of One Tree Hill, and then I wanted to go again at the end, and I did 2 episodes of Supernatural, and people didn't watch it because everyone was just on their phone and my teacher didn't care. Anyway, so a guy in my class brought in this film, Animal House, and never heard about it before, never seen it before. I also don't remember which guy in my class brought this in, but I know for sure it was a guy. I was kind of surprised we were allowed to watch this film in this class because I know someone wanted to bring in Shameless, and my teacher was like, that's too much. But in ways of explicit imagery and language, I feel like they're on the same level. I don't know. So, this movie wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. I don't know. But... So I feel like the concept's there, and it's like a good concept. The execution is not there. And we're talking about films critically here. You know, this is how we're doing them. It's important to talk not just about the greatest films ever, but also talk about the bad ones or the complicated and problematic ones. And it's important to discuss. It's important to discuss. So that's what we're doing here. I don't know if it's the 70s and that was like the time, but obviously if this was made nowadays, it would not be made like this. And I actually am someone who's kind of against reboots or, you know, sequels that are, some sequels are okay, like if it's a franchise. Yeah, I'm against kind of like reboots. But this is actually a movie I actually want to reboot. Like, I'm actually want it. And I think like I would like this movie to be made nowadays with the same concept, but different execution and maybe more modern time. And I know the 70s was a different time, but like some of the stuff that happened in this film, which we'll discuss, I'm like, this still was okay? This still was okay? And it's crazy because the 70s, actually when this film came out, 1978, my parents were in college, so thinking that on those lines, I know that the movie took place in the beginning of the 60s, but still, like, this came out in 1978. So which thing to touch on first? I feel like there was like maybe 4 components that struck out to me. I'm going to talk about the small one. So there was a Confederate flag in someone's bedroom. And that's like the Confederate flag that like I noticed. I don't know if there were others, but I just feel like, why? Like there's just like, this was nonetheless, if this is, you know, oh it's 78, but like it takes place in the 60s, like that's the Confederate flag. So, and this is supposed to be a character we like. Anyway, there was definitely a lot of racism, and that was, you know, the most, you know, it didn't really shine through until they were driving that night, and then they, you know, go to a club where it's, you know, they're the only white people there. So, like, it's a thing where they're like making a joke out of that, like of that situation, and making a joke, you know, out of black people. So it's like, the next scene I'm talking about was the scene where the guy goes up to the ladder and sees the girls pillow fighting half naked. no. Not only do me and my friends don't have pillow fights, we don't do that them topless. And I don't know anyone who does that. And I don't think people did that in the 70s or the 60s. Like, me and my friends maybe did pillow fights when we were like 10 years old at a sleepover, and it was like not like that. That's like a man's dream. That's how you know this film was made by a man. And I actually didn't really look at director right over. I just know they're men. And then he was like also looking at her like unchanged. Like, how did she not see him too? It just what does that scene add to the story other than like showing this imaginary image? Like this, like, you know, this, like, this, I guess, like, this is guy's imagination, but then it also, these are, as I say, as I've talked about, movies teach people things, and so this is teaching women that this is what they're supposed to do. Well, actually, women are done, so they're kind of, I think women like me are really confused, like, what? And then it's teaching men this is what women actually do. And this is only, you should go for women like this. This is what it's teaching them. And then they think that this is what they deserve. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but just like that scene. And my last thing I'm gonna talk about is that girl, I don't know names, you know, who's the cashier. And I thought, like, I remember, like, oh yeah, she's like underage. Like, that's the joke here. I thought she was 16 and she's like, I'm 13. I'm like, what? Because, like, obviously the actor was probably over 18, but she also doesn't look 13. And then also, like, the joke here is that she's underage. Like, that's the joke. Like, that was the point of it. So some of these jokes. So those were, like, my main things. There's maybe a few other, but, like, I think there was also some homophobic jokes in there. So it's just, like, these things that are problematic. Like, that's the thing about, you know, I think these like, it's just the things that are jokes are very, like, you know, racist, homophobic, sexist. Like, these are the jokes. So that's what makes it not okay. But, like, the idea about a frat and, like, the trouble they cause and then, like, kind of coming back at everything, like, that's I feel like that would be good nowadays. Just, you know, rewrite the entire script. I'm gonna talk about something good about the movie before I talk about some bad things. Something good about the movie is that scene, or the shout scene, and they're like, shout, everybody else shout. You know, I really like that scene where they're like all dancing and singing, like, shout. You know, it was a really good scene. And then also the last scene with the parade and them like causing chaos and them running, and then you see like the names of what happens, like, that scene's also really good. Okay, now my last bad thing, kind of getting more about like what the movie teaches people. And like, so yeah, a guy brought this into my class, and I think when we talked about it, we were talking about like kind of the problematicness of this, but the fact that he brought this in, like, you know, when they say film bro movies or bro, you know, movies like guys like Fight Club, Inception, Pulp Fiction. There's another one. The guy's really like forgetting the name, but it's like those four. What's the last one? Who knows? Anyway, but it's like those movies, like the guys men like, and you know, the guy in the class, obviously, you know, I think deep down he probably wanted to be like these guys. And I don't think it's more the like the whole, I think, I don't know, maybe a little bit about all the problematic stuff I talked about, but not really. Like, I don't think like he was a racist, or, you know, these type of films, even though they are racist in ways, like, they're not teaching people to be racist, but I think it's more those, I think, teaching, you know, how to treat women. And then also, like, this is something you're looking up to. Like, no offense, but these men in the frat, they kind of sucked. They had like the person was like, you guys have like a 0 GPA. Like, you know, this is something you're living up to. This is something like you idolize. Like, so although I would like to see this man today, like, it makes me a little bit concerned of like how that could have an effect on society, even like with all the other problematic stuff. Just like, you know, people will then want to like be like these guys and be like crazy in frats, you know. Okay, I'm getting really hot in my room, so we're going to end this But see, I wanted, these are just, I have to be critical. So I know I'm really being critical of the plot. I'm not really being, I'm not talking much about anything else in the movie, but anyway. So, comment below your thoughts about Animal House. If you agree, if you disagree, about the points made, add points. Hopefully people don't come for me. Sorry. But yeah, and then the movie for next week is Tag from 2018. So this is way more modernized from 1978 to 2018. What is that? 88, 98, 108, 8. That's 40 years later. 40 years later. Anyway, so comment below your thoughts for Animal House and watch Tag for next week. And thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. It's so hot in here, and bye.